Looks like we're getting started here. Hopefully chat should be working. We'll take a moment for YouTube to connect and we should be ready to go. Hopefully I can start erasing this. Let's go YouTube. Let's get it started. All right, I think we should be okay. All right. I am Drew Badger, the founder of EnglishAnyone.com and the English Fluency Guide. Welcome to another live video here on YouTube. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit more about fluency triggers. This is really the thing I do in all my videos, but people were asking me more about this, so I thought I would explain and give some more examples. But if you do go back and watch really any of my videos, even from the start of the channel, you'll see that all of my videos have really been about this basic idea of understanding English like a native, but eliminating the doubt that stops you from speaking. This is really how you speak. So it doesn't matter where you live or how old you are, as long as you can eliminate the doubt. If you have any doubts about conversational phrases or vocabulary or whatever, then that's really what's going to stop you from speaking. So I thought I would give some more examples today, starting with a non-language example, and maybe this will give you even better reason or just some more better, not more better, just some better examples of how these work. Because I know people really want to speak, and really, again, all of the things people think they need to become fluent are not really necessary. The thing you really need is just to understand the language well enough to feel confident about speaking. All right, I will keep my eye on chat over here, but I think we're doing fine. All right, let's see here. We got George over there, Papu, and Subrul. Nice to see everybody there. Olympia, oh my heart, oh no. Protect your heart, Olympia. Jarek, nice to see you there. And Rafisa watching from Ethiopia. All right, we've got people from all over the place. Let's get started. I thought it would be interesting to start this with just a very simple explanation that anyone can understand about how the brain learns. All right, so this, you don't need to understand like the inner workings of the brain. This is really just understanding how the brain works. So I brought an example. This is a game that I play with my own kids at home called Guess Who. And the point of the game, I've got the actual pieces kind of taped on here so I can hold it up and you can see all the characters. But on the game board here, we have a whole bunch of faces. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you something visual, but also help you understand something that's not like language specifically. It's just how your brain learns. So let's see. So we have all of these people over here. And when you play the game, this is regular. You can just find this on Amazon, or you can even make your own version of it. It doesn't really matter. But you can see we have all these different faces on the board, and the point of the game is to ask questions and figure out who the other person's person is. So I am thinking of a person, so there is a blue one of these and then a red one for the other player. It's really a game for two people. We're not actually going to play the game, but the point is I just want to show you how this works very simply when you're learning vocabulary, because it works the same way. Now, basically what happens when you're learning vocabulary, there are two ways to do this. The first one is just to get a definition or a translation of something. This is what most people do. It's really the fastest way to understand something, but it's not really the most effective because it doesn't really help you understand that thing like a native. It doesn't really help you understand that thing and really make that thing confident and clear in your mind, all right? So just to give you an example of this, the other way is to discover what that thing is by removing any doubt you have about that. I'll give you a specific vocabulary example after this, but I thought I would just do it with this one. So when we're playing the game Guess Who, we begin with a whole bunch of faces over here. So you can see all of these characters. And I have a card that shows one of these people. So I'm thinking of one of these people, and the other player is asking me, well, let's see. So we know it's a person. So it's not a dog or a tree or something else. We know it's a person, and that's when the game begins. So which person am I thinking of, or which person, does I have their card? All right. So people would ask me, or the other player would ask me, does your person have blonde hair? Does your person have blonde hair? And if I say, yes, my person does have blonde hair, then you eliminate all the other people on the board. The way this actually works, I'll flip this over on the other side. You put this down on the table, and each one of these things flips up. And so you flip them down, and then again, the point is to eliminate all of the doubt, all of the wrong answers, until you get the one that's correct. So you continue to ask questions, and the point of the game is to see who can find the other person first, all right? So does your person have a big nose? Does your person have glasses? Does your person have a hat? Is your person a woman? You can ask these kinds of questions and then try to get until you have maybe just one person left, and then, okay, now we know who the person is. Now you also, if you're like a teacher of English, or again, as natives are just using this to help their own children learn the language, you can see how the brain is working. So the brain wants to solve the puzzle. That's the whole point of the game. The game is not like, okay, I picked a card, I know who the person is, and now I will just show you the card. That would be a very boring game. No one would want to play that because the brain wants to solve the puzzle. And this is part of the reason why when a teacher just gives you translations or a definition of a word, it doesn't really sink in. Your brain kind of switches off. We talk about the fluent communication switch in the brain on this channel. If you want to learn more about that, watch the previous video I made a few days ago. But the basic idea is that if your brain is not interested in something, there's no real connection to that thing, or you have some kind of doubt about it, then you can't communicate. You don't really understand something very well. You don't really know it, and you still have some kind of doubt about that thing. So the basic example, the reason, again, I wanted to show this is because it really shows you, oh, so we're thinking of a person, but we don't know which one, and we're trying to eliminate all of the doubt until we find exactly the person. And each time we learn more, like, oh, your person has orange hair or blue hair or black hair or whatever, we can find out and get closer and closer. It's like a target. So the same way this works with vocabulary. Again, when we're learning something, when we learn a new word, if we don't just get a definition of it, we have maybe a vague understanding. It's not specific. We don't really know for sure what that means. So if we can imagine a target like this, and each time we get more information, we get closer to the bullseye over here. We get closer to the center, and that's where we're looking for. When we have this answer, it means we've eliminated all the doubt. We feel very confident about something, and then we can speak. Okay? So again, when you're trying to learn a language, of course, we focus on English on this channel, but when you're trying to learn any language or figure something out, the point is to remove the doubt. And now let me give you an actual vocabulary lesson with the same idea here. So remember, there are two ways to learn. Let's see here. Maybe this one's better. That's a little better. Oh no, but this one really, I have to choose a better marker or one that's going to be more difficult to erase. Don't make me choose. Don't make me choose. Let's see. I'll just use blue again. Okay. So number one, remember we can get a definition or a translation. I'll just put a translation. And then we just go directly to the word. But we usually don't remember them later. Okay? And then the second way is we discover the word. So we discover the meaning of the word as we get more examples of that thing. That's how we really understand it like a native. We eliminate the doubt. And so what we do with that, these are what I call fluency triggers that really help you understand that. And in the video I did a few days ago, that was really an example of showing how quickly this can work for vocabulary, but I wanted to give some more examples in this video about pronunciation, grammar, that kind of thing. So you can see this is not just for basic vocabulary. You can really do this with anything, and that's the point of good teaching, to really help you understand something so you feel confident about using it, all right? So just like the example we just had with the Guess Who board game, if I give you a bunch of flashcards, now I'm the teacher and I'm teaching you a new word, but I'll teach you a new word in an alien language. And now if I just give you the definition or the translation of it, like that, the number one example over here, the first way to teach, then you probably won't remember that thing. But if you discover that, the fluency trigger by using this, and really this whole thing is a fluency trigger. Each one of these pieces works together, and you could use these in any order, all right? But the point is, I'm leading you to discover what something is so you really understand that thing, so you feel confident about using it, okay? If I eliminate the doubt, you will have confidence, and then you can speak. All right, so let's say I want to teach you, I'll teach you here, let's see. All right. So that's one thing. It's kind of hard to see what that is. Don't worry about that. But let's see, the alien word here is at. At. Now, you might think you know what that means, but you don't really know for sure. So you remember our target example. So we know it's probably not an animal. It might be. It's probably not an animal or food or something. So we have a general idea on the target about where something might be, because we have maybe we can understand. I could guess what this word might mean. You can try to guess in the example or in the comment section below. So if you think you know what the word is, as soon as you know, just post the comment. And again, this is your brain trying to process this information with discovery rather than trying to get a definition or a translation of the word. All right, I'll give you another example. So again, we don't just use one example, we get multiple examples of this thing. Here's another example. Okay, this is also at. All right, so Nils thought a cake. Now that's really my fault for just drawing poorly. But again, as we go through the examples over here, it should become more clear. We should feel more confident as we get more examples until we lead ourselves to the discovery, now I get it, okay? If anybody thinks they know, good morning over there. What I'm talking about, what the word at in this alien language means, just write it in the comments. I'll give you another example. This is also at. I'll give you another example. This is also at. At. Now remember, this is an alien word. This is not an English word. I'm not teaching you English right now. The whole point of this example, yes, Nils has it. Close. Okay? Now, as you get more examples, you actually feel the doubt removing from your brain. It just kind of disappearing as it gets more clear. So you become, okay, we got one thing. This is supposed to be a shoe. But of course, I'm not so great with my drawing over here. So if I'm doing this in like a real lesson, like I'm really trying to teach you an alien language or whatever, I would probably have like a clearer picture over here. But the idea is still the same. So we have like a kind of general idea. We know it's not, like an animal or food or, I don't know, some like abstract thing, probably. We have a general idea about what it might not be or what it could be, but we still need to get more examples. No, it's my fault. You didn't do anything wrong. So the first one, we get a shoe, but we don't really know what I'm talking about. You actually don't know. So it could mean clothes, it could mean shoe, it could mean the color, it could mean the shape, we don't know. But as you get more examples, and this is how you got fluent in your native language, as you continue to get more examples that refine your understanding until you get to the bullseye and you feel confident because you eliminated all the doubt, that's when you start speaking fluently, okay? So you don't learn something like this and then just try to start saying it because you don't really know what you're talking about. The only reason you could do that is if you got a definition or a translation. But you can understand it's a different feeling. This is more like a game. This is more like the way you're actually trying to learn, the way your brain wants to learn. Your brain wants to solve the puzzle. That's what we're designed for. We're designed to recognize patterns and solve puzzles in this way. Okay, that's how we get more information. We're always trying to get more information from our environment, And this is how we become a confident speaker. It's simply by understanding the vocabulary word. All right, unknown word for now. Remember, this is not an English word. I'm not teaching you an English word. This is an example of an alien language or just, some random language. But this is not correct for any language I know of. That would be funny if it is, though. But I'm not trying to teach you a language here. So we have, like in English, we would say maybe shoe, shirt, sock, pants, or underwear, or shorts, or something like that. And so, again, the example here, as you feel more confident, you get more examples. That's really how you discover the meaning of the word and how you eliminate the doubt. So this whole thing altogether is an example of a fluency trigger. I'm specifically designing it this way so that you discover the meaning of the word. Okay. Let's see. So let me go back and check comments over here, see if people have any questions about this. But nice to see everybody here. Let me see. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly so I can give you guys more examples. Elder says, what's going on, Drew? Friday morning lesson would be nice. What day is it? I think it is Friday. It's Friday. I think so. Yeah, it's Friday for me in Japan. Mahesh says, okay, I answered that one. All right, so MBO says, can I use English to English dictionary for English fluency? Well, again, if you use a dictionary, you're going to get a definition. So either you're using English to get a definition or you're using your native language to get a translation. But my point is, if you have just a little bit of patience, and the reason to have patience is because most people usually just forget words that they get a definition or a translation for. Okay? So if I just tell you what the word is, then there's no lesson there. You don't care, you don't really remember it either. So you would probably forget the meaning. If I say ought, in a week, you would not remember what that is. But because you learned it this way, because I gave you a trigger that really gets in your mind, I'm using all of these things together as a single trigger to help you understand the word. Okay? So you can use a dictionary, especially if you want to you need a quick definition of something. Remember, this way is faster. But again, the discovery, if you're going to give yourself more time, if you want to become fluent faster, this is how you do it. Okay, with triggering yourself like this, triggering the fluent communication switch in your mind by eliminating the doubt. If you get a definition of something, often you don't really eliminate all the doubt because many words have more than one definition. And there are nuances of words, and sometimes you can use it one way or another way, or the pronunciation might be a little bit different. Okay? So yes, you can use a dictionary, and it's best if you use an English to English dictionary, but if you want to speak fluently, this is what you need to do. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's see. Maya says, I think you are giving a root level example to learn fluency. Yes, the point is that these are the two basic ways of learning. Most people are learning like this. They're trying to get definitions or translations and then memorize those. But typically, you're not going to become fluent, and you will not really eliminate the doubt that stops you from speaking. And that's the real core of fluency. So if you have a doubt about vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, anything else, then you won't speak. You will recognize information, so you can understand, and this is why many English learners know a lot of English, but they still struggle to speak, all right? So they haven't eliminated all of the doubt. They're still nervous or worried or something about their pronunciation or their understanding of something. So maybe I know a word, I recognize it when a native says it to me, but I just don't, there's something about that word that I'm struggling with. So you need to find that out. It could be the pronunciation of the word, or if it's a grammar point, maybe you're not quite sure how to use it. You don't really understand what it means, but that's the reason you're not confident about using it, or you forget it in conversations or whatever. There are lots of reasons why, but really the number one core, the foundation of all of that is just doubt. So you're uncertain, or you're nervous, you're lacking confidence about something because you still have questions about it. So just like the game here, so our guess who game. So you could begin, I say, oh, I'm thinking of a person. And you say, oh, is it Max? Is it Max? And I say, no, it's not max. You're really just guessing. And this is often how people are in conversations. So the idea of kind of forcing yourself to speak before you really feel confident is like this, where you're basically guessing or you're saying something, but you're probably going to make a mistake. So I'm thinking of a person, but your brain is really trying to find out who that person is without me just telling the answer. If I just tell you the answer, there's no game, there's no learning process, you're not really thinking about it, and you probably won't remember that information. Okay? So who am I thinking of? Well, I'm thinking of someone with glasses, someone with a hat, someone with orange hair. And now, as you're looking at all these, you're like, okay, I can eliminate all these things. Oh, he's thinking about Claire. Okay, so that's how the game works, and the reason we play games like this is because our brains enjoy them. That's the whole point. Studying is the opposite of that. Studying is where you try to get a bunch of definitions and push them into your brain, but you don't really understand, you don't really feel completely confident about something, and that's when you struggle. Okay? So the more fluency triggers you can give your brain, the better you can understand the information. That's what you're actually going to get, or that's when you're going to get the communication to flow easily. Let's see. Kanon says, do you mean the important idea is to feel confident with our words? Yes. So the important thing is to eliminate doubt. So I talk about confidence, but the basic idea is just get rid of the doubt. If you have no doubt, then there's only confidence. Okay? So if you have questions about something, then it means you're not 100% confident. You still have some kind of doubt. So you need to answer those questions for yourself if you're learning by yourself, or ask a teacher or whatever. But it's better to get this kind of thing. This is where I'm giving you a bunch of related examples that actually work well with each other. I specifically create lessons like this, what I call a fluency trigger, to help people trigger that feeling in your mind where you're like, now I got it. That's the aha moment you feel when you understand something and you feel confident about using something. So if you go to the alien language and you see something like this, you could probably guess it's art. Okay? So some kind of clothing, like if I give you an additional example, or you see something else, I don't know, we'll draw like a slightly different thing over here. You know, some other little piece of clothing, and you could probably guess this also means art. It's a coat, you know. So you can get more specific. Probably in the alien language, there are different words for each one of these things, but the purpose of this is just to understand you, or to understand what the vocabulary is by discovery. Okay. All right, so what is the solution to get fluent in English? You need to eliminate doubt. That's it. If I could say it in like 2 words, like we'll make it very simple here. Destroy doubt. Okay? So if you have a doubt about anything, about pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, it doesn't matter. That's what's stopping you from speaking. It's not where you live. It's not how much you study or how maybe much speaking practice you get. Lots of people live in the United States or the UK or Australia, and they've been doing that for years. So they're surrounded by natives. They have opportunities to speak, but they don't. And it's because really they feel kind of shy, or they have some kind of doubt about something. That's basically the answer. So all of those things, it really just means you're uncertain about something, and that's why you will have trouble speaking. All right, nice to see everybody there. Good morning again. Let's see. Bridget says, hi, Drew. Mathematics was easy to learn for me because I played with marbles and understood how to use 4 rules. However, I struggled learning English language. Yeah. So again, like I gave an example with this. This is a specific language learning example. This one is not. But again, you can understand the rules of something. And math is, yes, like quite easy to understand, but you can understand. I try to make my lessons like this. It's more like a math problem where you're trying to solve it, where you're trying to eliminate what the answer could be until we have one answer and we know what is correct, and that's where we feel confident about something. Okay. Now let me give you another example of this. Another kind of fluency trigger that helps you just really feel confident about using vocabulary. And this is when you see different native speakers in a situation, or they're describing the same situation, and often they will say the same thing to describe that, or they might say like a few other related things about that, but typically in the same situation there are a few things that natives might say. And I don't have the specific example here, but you can probably find it on YouTube or somewhere. I think there might be some lower quality versions of this on YouTube. But there was it's like a documentary movie by ESPN. So this is like a sports TV network in the United States. And there was a specific episode or a specific movie called Reggie Miller versus the New York Knicks. I'm not going to take time to write that, but if you look up 30 for 30, this is the name of that series. So if you look up Reggie Miller 30 for 30, you can probably find this clip on YouTube or some other site, or even find the whole thing, excuse me, somewhere. Now, what was interesting, I'm going to set the stage here. I'm going to describe a situation that happens in the documentary. So Reggie Miller is a basketball player, or he was a basketball player, and he played for the Indiana Pacers, and they had a team rivalry with the New York Knicks, and so they were always fighting with each other and having some good matches. It was like really entertaining to watch because they were two teams that were pretty well matched with each other. And so there was one scene where Reggie Miller, he scores 8 points in like 11 seconds or something like that. So it's really a really incredible thing that he did, because if you've ever seen basketball, usually people take one shot and then they have to run back to the other side of the court and then they take another shot. So it's to have 11 points in, or how many points it was, like 8 points in 11 seconds, something like that. It was amazing. Now, what was interesting is that in this documentary, people are talking about that scene. And so there were two phrases that people learned, like multiple people use the exact same phrase, because again, this is how natives are learning. They recognize in a situation, people will use certain vocabulary. So this is why I always recommend the kind of what I call naturally varied review, where you're listening to different people talking about the same thing. Okay, you're listening to different people talking about the same thing. So I'm going to give you both of these phrases right now. So the first one is, I've never seen anything like that. First one, I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen anything like that. And so when you watch this documentary and you see, so Reggie Miller, basically what happens in the scene is Reggie Miller comes and so the Indiana Pacers are down. They're like the New York Knicks, I forget how many points they have, but the New York Knicks are winning right now in this point in the game. And then Reggie Miller gets the ball, and he was known for taking 3-point shots. So Reggie Miller gets the ball, he shoots a 3-pointer, and it goes in, and then after that, like another player tried to pass the ball to another player inside, and Reggie Miller stole the ball, and he ran back again to the outside of so in a basketball game, you have the hoop over here, and there's this is the 3-point line. So Reggie Miller was here, he ran back out here and put up another shot. And so he was able to score 8 points in 11 seconds, whatever it is. I don't remember the actual numbers, but it was a very amazing thing. And so when you have people describing this, it was really interesting to see a couple of people say the exact same thing, where they said, I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen anything like that. Or some people just said, like, never seen anything like that. Never seen anything like that. Never seen anything like that. Okay, and so as a child, like a native speaker learning these things, I'm not trying to study grammar. What I'm trying to do is understand. I want to make connections with the vocabulary and understand in this situation, people say this. Okay, it doesn't matter. We're not going to talk about if it's present perfect, present continuous, or the past simple, whatever. We're just looking at what do people say, and as I get the kind of understanding of this, then I can use that for other things, like I've never done that before, whatever. We'll talk more about that in this video in a moment. But the point is, this is just something, it's really interesting to see that natives, for a particular situation, there will be maybe a few phrases that people will say. And it was interesting to see a lot of people saying the same thing, like the exact same thing. So these people are being interviewed separately about this, and they all say the same thing. And so in the documentary, they just show like one person after another saying this. Okay. Now another situation. It's again this same thing with the basketball thing. They were talking about this, like the general situation of scoring 8 points in 11 seconds. And then, so the idea of that is never seen anything like it, or never seen anything like that. So you could say it or that. Never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. So anytime you see something really amazing, really surprising, you will hear natives say, wow, like an alien is flying by. Wow, never seen anything like that. Amazing. All right, never seen anything like that. Now, the more specific thing, there were two situations here. So the first one is just that he did something amazing, but the second one is kind of how he did it. And people also gave like a different example or a different phrase, but they're talking about the same thing over here. This is a more advanced expression, but you will understand it from the situation. All right, so again, Reggie Miller, he steals the ball over here. So there's a pass that comes in. Reggie Miller steals the ball. He could shoot right there. Like he had an open shot, but he thought it's better if I take the ball back behind the three-point line to try to get another score, to try to get more points. Okay? So imagine this situation. It's late in the game. Everybody is like very excited. You have a huge crowd of people around you. Everyone's like, oh my goodness. So Reggie Miller already put up a three. They inbound the ball. So the other team passes the ball in. Reggie steals the ball. He could have just shot right then. But he had the presence of mind. He had the presence of mind to go back and shoot the three. He had the presence of mind. So it means he was still thinking. He wasn't panicking. He was still thinking, I need to get a three. He was consciously thinking about it. So we say, oh, he had the presence of mind to do that. So like he was present in his mind. He wasn't thinking about something else or distracted or confused or panicked. He had the presence of mind to go back and shoot the three. Now, watching the documentary, it's interesting that, again, a few people said this exact same thing. Okay, a few people said the exact same thing. I highly recommend you find this. So Reggie Miller, 30 for 30. It's a really interesting documentary anyway, even if you don't care about basketball. But you can probably find these clips if you look for Reggie Miller, like 11 or 8 points in 11 seconds or something. I forget what exactly it is. But you should be able to find some clips of people talking about this. So they're talking about Reggie Miller. They're amazed that Reggie Miller had the presence of mind to go back and pull that shot. So instead of shooting a 2-point shot from here, he actually took the ball back behind the three, and then look at that, he shot a three, and it went in. I've never seen anything like that. Never seen anything like that. So most players, I mean, like, unless you're like a really good player, like you might panic right there and just like, oh, I got the ball, let me put it in again very quickly. But he had the presence of mind to not do that. He had the presence of mind to take the ball back and put it in. And interestingly, this is the same thing that other people were thinking, and they all described it this way. They all mentioned this same thing, the presence of mind. Like, wow, just the presence of mind of this guy. So he was there in the moment. He wasn't panicked or confused or anything. He had the presence of mind to bring the ball back and shoot the three. Okay? So another thing, like I gave the example before, like guess who, about getting these different examples of vocabulary, and it's the whole thing that's really the fluency trigger. And as you hear these things, it's like, wait a minute, you might hear the phrase one time, you don't quite understand it. But in a situation, you connect the situation, you really understand what the situation is, you hear a few different people talking about that, you will think, wow, now I got it, all right, to have the presence of mind. And now you might forget something like this, but again, this is the better way to review it, to really get more examples of other people saying this, or to look at, like once you learn a phrase like this, you could go to Youglish and get more examples of it. But again, this is just another example of a fluency trigger and how you can actually understand something the same way natives do and eliminate the doubt you have about using it, all right? So even something a bit more complicated. I'll check chat before I give another example with grammar just to show you that this really does work for anything. All right, let's see. Another English structure teacher. I don't know what that's asking. Let's see, Papu over there. Tom Hanks. Yes, this is Tom Hanks. Giles says, man, you look like a soldier with that haircut. Yes, I know some people think I do. Out here. So people will ask me if I'm in the military, and I will say, no, I'm Tom Hanks. All right, Ilder says, by the way, do you remember the game Russians won from U.S. just on last second of the time? I don't, in what sport? I don't know. Shadow says, good morning from Zambia. Nice to see you there. So how should I learn phrasal verbs and vocabulary? You need to get fluency triggers. You need to eliminate the doubt. Okay, Arturo says, hi, teacher. All right, 3Ds, 3Zs is who's a care? Do you mean who cares? All right. Yes, I won't forget Reggie Miller. Again, watch the clip. It's pretty entertaining if you can find it. Unfortunately, I couldn't find before the video. I just didn't have time to do it. But if you look for it, I'm sure you can find it somewhere. All right, let me give you one last example just to prove my point about how you should be learning and why it's important to really trigger your mind rather than just get some more definitions or explanations or translations of vocabulary. All right. Now, this is a grammar example, and let's say this is a regular English lesson. We're going to teach you, let's see, I'll make sure this fits over here. The present perfect. The present perfect. So if this is a normal English lesson, I would say, okay, the present perfect is this, and I'm going to give you some examples of the present perfect, and hopefully you remember it. But this is not the way I teach because people don't really learn very well this way. So again, we're going to take a step back, and I'm going to give you a trigger, and the trigger really is like this whole series of things, and we will come back to the present perfect after that. But the point here is to help you understand something, to eliminate the doubt you have, because that's when you speak, okay? So let's start up here, and we're just going to introduce ourselves here. Just like we talked about for these people over here, we can talk about ourselves, we can introduce ourselves, do something very simple. I have, let's see here, I'll make this, I'll move present perfect out of the way here. We'll come back to that. I want to make sure I fit all of these things in here. So I have, what do I have? I have a white shirt. A white shirt. I have a white shirt. Okay, nice and easy. Oh, I have, what's this? I have a blue marker. Blue marker. I could have, let's see, what else do I have? Well, I have some water. Some water. Okay. Now I want to make sure everybody is following along, because if I keep going, we should be able to get you all the way to the present perfect and help you understand it very well without me teaching you a lot of grammar. But just by understanding it, removing the doubt about these things, you should feel more confident about that. But I want to stop right here. Does anyone have any questions so far? I want to make sure there's no doubt about any of this. All right, should be very basic English. People understand this already, but I really want to make sure you know, because part of the way you can do this by yourself is to understand grammar, try to make it more simple to see where you're getting stuck, because there's usually some place where people get stuck, and I can't maybe explain something. I don't really understand the grammar, and that's why I don't feel confident using it. All right, this should be clear. Let's take it a step further. So you could probably do more, like the different things I have. Now we're going to take it, let's just call this level 1. Level 2 over here, we're going to talk about other things I have. So I have, and I'm going to talk about things like about myself. Same idea. I have a nose. Pretty easy. I have a nose. I have 2 eyes. Or I have 2, we call this color hazel. It's kind of a mix of brown and green, 2 hazel eyes. I have a nose. I have 2 eyes. Anything else? What else do I have? See if anybody out there watching. What else do I have? Anything else you can describe about me? I have what? Should be very easy. Go ahead. Use the English you know. You should feel confident about this. Hopefully everybody watching this knows these basic kind of sentences, and they can describe things like this about themselves. Okay, very simple. So I have a nose. I have 2 eyes. No one? Really? Anyone? I have, let's see, a mouth. Very easy. 2 ears. I have hair. Oh, my head says you have knowledge. Ooh, something you can't see. Look at that. Interesting. Knowledge. Pretty easy. I have a mouth. Okay. Now remember, we want to make sure we get this correct. I've seen some mistakes. You have a mouth. Yes, I also have freshly cut hair. You would put a dash between freshly and cut because we're connecting that. Freshly cut hair. All right. So this is, again, we really want to make sure that we understand these things, that we're using all of these correctly. All right. So I have, So I have 2 legs. I have eyebrows. So if it's one thing, you can say I have like 1 mouth or a mouth. I have a mouth. I have 2 ears. I have a head. I have a body. I have shoulders. Okay. So we can talk about like other things outside of us. I have a dog. I have a house. Or we could talk about things about ourselves as well. We have teeth. Another good example. Hands. Very good. All right. Pretty simple. Now, we're going to extend this a little bit further to level 3, and we're going to talk about experiences. Okay? Experiences. So I have, let's see. I have, what have I done? I have played baseball. I have played baseball. Again, it's the same thing. We're just talking about an experience that's part of us. Okay? So just like my nose is a part of me, my eyes they are a part of me, my mouth, the knowledge I have, that's all a part of me. My experiences, I'll just put EXP over here for experience. My experiences, the things I have done, are a part of me also. Okay? I want to make this very clear because this is a complicated thing for many people, but it doesn't, yes. So I have studied, another good example. So I have studied whatever. I have studied marketing. I have studied piano. Okay, so children would be up here, like I have children. But it's all the same thing. So you can have something like around yourself. Well, I have uploaded. Look at that. So I have uploaded more than 600 videos. Good example. I have uploaded, right? So I have, and this is the thing. So when people ask me what's the difference between just an activity or something you did in the past and using this example, it's still a part of me. There's a connection between what happened in the past and right now. So I played basketball, or I played baseball, or I studied something, or I uploaded something. I could be talking about, if I draw like a timeline like this, I could be talking about some time in the past. So here is now. Make sure that fits. So I did something, let's say I played baseball here. Okay, so this was 10 years ago. So this is 10 years in the past, so I played baseball. If I'm just talking about that, just talking about the experience, we can just use the simple past. I played baseball. But I have played means we're connecting that with the present. It's part of me now. It's part of my experience, just like my eyes are part of me. So you can see my eyes. You can't really see my experiences, but I can tell you about them. Okay? So I have, and what are the things I have done? Okay? So I have been. So after we take, usually if I'm teaching something like this, I want to begin with, okay, we got nice ed, you can recognize a pattern. Now we want to make it just a little bit more complex by adding something else like I have seen, or I have done, or I have been. And as you recognize the patterns, you're thinking, oh, look at that. It's really just talking about who you are as an experience. So I'm not talking about the thing, I'm talking about me. I have this thing. I have this experience. So you could make this a longer sentence. I have the experience of playing something. But we just say it in a shorter way. I have played. Very simple. Okay? I have played. I have played. Make sense? So if we begin by talking about this is the present perfect, I don't need to talk about explaining a bunch of grammar rules. It's just look at the steps. This whole thing is a trigger that helps you understand the grammar and use it without thinking. Because we're not trying to learn the grammar, we're trying to learn when we can say something. When can I say I have done something? Okay? And as you ask more questions or you need more information, that's great, that's fine. What you're trying to do is eliminate the doubt. So if you have a question, it means you have a doubt about something. Okay? Hopefully this makes sense. But this is how you should be thinking about the grammar. It's really just situations. There's nothing really different between having an experience and having a dog. It's just one is like a thing you can see and the other is not. But either way, you're connecting the past with the future. Okay? Now, there are different uses of the present perfect like this. I don't want to give a long lesson about that. But the main idea is we're taking something that happened in the past and we're connecting it with now. It's still important now. I have uploaded the videos, the videos are still available, okay? So that's why we would say I have done something. So I have played baseball, I'm, partly a baseball player. That's part of my history or my experience or who I am, okay? So I have played this, but I have not done something, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Let's go back and look at some of these examples. Looks like we have some good comments over here. All right, but I think people are getting it. Hong thinks, I think grammar is important for exams, but for fluency, we don't need to focus on it. Well, this is both. If you understand, you just learned a usage of the present perfect without studying, the present perfect. Does that make sense? So the point here is not for me to tell you, okay, today we're going to learn about the present perfect, because your mind doesn't really know what that means. It's what does that mean, a present perfect? It's it's in the present. What makes it perfect? It's complete? Is that what you mean? The brain doesn't really understand what that is. But the brain does understand this, where, oh, okay, I have a marker. Look, I have a hand. Anybody can see that. Okay, or I have a nose. I have a face. People can see that. And now we're just taking it just one step further about who we are like the things that you can't see, the experiences that we have. Okay? So I have played, I have gone, I have been, I have watched, I have witnessed. All right? So it happened. There's probably some event, or it could be a series of events. I actually played baseball for many years, but I don't play baseball anymore, or I don't play it currently, but I have played. I have that experience. All right? Is this feeling a little bit better for people? Again, I don't want to do a long lesson about present perfect, because the goal of this video is not to take this and try to teach you like every usage of the present perfect. But the point is, once you understand one of these, it's easier to make a connection with more things. Okay? All right, let me go back and answer some of these questions here. Let's see. So again, but really important for Hong's question, you're still learning the present perfect, and you would still be able to use this on a test and use it correctly. But the point is, if you only learn it through the traditional way, you're probably not going to do well on a test or in a conversation. All right, so I'm still teaching you grammar. I'm not saying like don't learn grammar or whatever. The point is, you should be learning grammar, but how you learn it is important. This is how I teach my kids grammar. This is how regular natives are teaching their own children to learn the language. Okay? And so we want to make sure at every step they understand what's going on. So kids learn, oh, look, like, what do you have? What are you holding in your hand? I have a piece of candy. I have, a toy. I have something. What else do you have? Tell me about yourself. What about your body? Oh, I have 2 arms or 2 legs. Okay. What else can you tell me about yourself? What have you done? Oh, I have played, I've played basketball. I have, whatever. But you can think about all these things where it's just talking about things you have, and it's different. It's not talking about the event. You're talking about yourself. You're connecting the thing in the past. It's now a part of you because you have that experience. Okay, you have the experience. All right, let's see. I have been teaching. You have talked about baseball players. Yes, so I have. So in the past, like I have done something, you can talk about someone else's experience as well. You have done something. Or like bringing it back to these examples, like what has she done? She has worked in sales. She has worked in sales. So she has that experience. Okay, or he has, what has he done? He has been fishing. He has been fishing. He looks like a fisherman, maybe, kind of. He has been fishing. So you can look at all these things, and we can make up stories like this just to give ourselves more examples of the thing, but the point is that you need to eliminate any doubt you have about what this means. Okay, if anybody had doubt about this before, hopefully I've removed it, or at least removed most of it. If not, you can still ask me questions just to make sure. But this is the difference between I played, where we're talking about the event, or are we talking about me? I have played. I have that experience. All right, have you done something before? Yes, I have. So I have that experience. That's what people are saying. I have that experience. All right, I have learned English with a nice teacher. Very good. Let's see, Giles. What is the difference between have and have got? There's really no difference there. Like often Americans will say I have got, but I think British is just have, but have got is the same thing. It's like you have something and you got it. You don't really need to say both of those, but conversationally you will hear both of them. You have taught us enough English. Let's see, receiver says, does it mean I have uploaded? Why does it mean times but just uploaded once in the past? No, it doesn't matter. So I have uploaded, we would describe how many videos, like I have uploaded 1 video. Or I have uploaded 20 videos. Like how many videos doesn't matter. I still have the experience of at least uploading something 1 time. So just like playing baseball, maybe I only played 1 game. So I have played baseball, even if it's only one game. I still have played. I still have played. I have that experience. Okay? So there is the experience, just one, it was only one game, but I did it. It's part of me now. I have done that before. Okay? So it doesn't matter how many times I played baseball. I can say that also if I want to give more information. I have played baseball for 10 years. So from like 5 years old to 15 years old. So if I played baseball, I played baseball for 15 years. Okay, so we're talking about something in the past. Again, I don't want to make this more complicated about that and try to teach you too much at the same time, but the basic idea here is just understanding this one thing. Remove the doubt one piece at a time, and this will give you much more to use when you're in your conversations because you will feel more confident about using it. All right? All right. Ilder, you are talking about basketball. Okay. No, I don't know that game. Let's see. Conan says, I have a hand. Yes, so you can shorten it like that. I have a hand. Emmanuel says, I've got is British, therefore it means the same as I have. Example, I have to go. I've got to go. Yeah, so I have, and that's a slightly different meaning. I really wanted to keep it basic with this just to make sure people understand they can talk about the like the different things that they have as a physical thing or even an experience. I have a smartphone which I'm using to watch videos. Yeah, so you have up here a smartphone. You have a hand that you're watching the smartphone with or holding the smartphone with maybe, or you have eyes, you're watching it. Maybe you have been watching, so that's another slightly different example. Hanane says, I have traveled around the world. Yeah, another good example. He has been playing basketball for a long time. Now, that's where we want to connect the past with an event that's still going on. So I have been playing basketball. I have been teaching today for about an hour. So I have been teaching. So I have the experience right now. It's continuing. So I have been doing it. I have been doing it. I have been doing it. All right? But I want you to understand these things one at a time. They build on one another. I should have written it the other way, but really we begin with something simple and then try to add to that to see where do we get stuck? Where is the doubt still? So if we can eliminate the doubt, that's when we will start speaking. All right, I'm about to buy a new phone, probably i14. Boy, I enjoy these free English lessons. Yes, my lessons are very good because they help you eliminate the doubt that you have in your mind that stops you from speaking. Let's see. Raymond says, I just want to say thank you for your work. I have been studying the lesson sets in your program, and I know it will pay off later. Hopefully, Raymond, it should be paying off now. Just like in this video, you as soon as you get examples, the point if you're talking about like Fluent for Life or anything else, any of the other programs we have, the point is to continue to get these fluency triggers, and as you get more, you should feel more confident each time you get one. So it's not like you learn and then there's a payoff later. You should be paid off as you learn, just like I'm showing in these videos here. But yes, I'm glad you're improving. Let's see. All right, Mahesh says, I have had a bad experience. Is this sentence correct? Yes. So again, the reason I have I didn't use had here is because it makes people a bit more confused. Okay, so it's like, wait a minute, he said have and had in the same sentence. That's crazy. So it's much easier to just start this out with like basic ED past tense here. Okay, so I have played, I have studied, I have uploaded, but I have had, that's the same thing. So we can talk about one thing as like having an experience, but it was in the past, so I had an experience. So I have had the experience. It's a bit more complicated to explain it like that, which is why I have to be careful about the order in which I teach things. Okay, but yes, you are correct. See, I see you are trying to stretch yourself and challenge your understanding. That's how you become more confident. Very good. Okay, so as you get more examples, then you're still asking more questions to try to expand, to learn more, to get more use out of your vocabulary. So look, I have had, and again, like had just like I got something in the past. Have you seen before is correct. Zakin, we wouldn't say that because have you seen already implies in the past. There are some times where natives will use these things like, I have not seen it before. Like it just sounds a bit more casual and conversational. I thought about making a video about this topic where people kind of add words that aren't really necessary. Maybe I did already. I don't know. I have made so many videos, so I don't remember. But that's an example where it's implied that it already happened or that you haven't done it. You don't need to say before. Okay, so I have not played baseball before. I don't need to say before because we're talking about the past anyway. So I don't have that experience. We don't need to use that. But you will hear people saying that because it just sounds a little bit more kind of casual and conversational. Let's see. Jacinta said, I have never had a chance to travel to Europe. Oh, excellent. Very good. Yep, that's correct. So you're making it, you're taking it a little bit more, a bigger step, a little bit more complicated. So I have never done something. It just gets a little bit more complicated for some people when you try to put have and then had in the same sentence. But if you think about it logically with a bunch of examples, it gets easier. So I have played, I have gone, I have been, I have waited, I have trained, or I have not done that thing. I have not played, I have not played, I have not trained, I have not written, I have not spelled, I have not been to some place. Okay, so I have not had. So anytime you can have anything like this, we can just have the past. So like if I want to take a more simple or a simpler example, so the past of this would be like I had a dog. So we're just talking about it like I don't have the dog now. Again, this is me now. We're just talking about the simple past, the event in the past. So I had a dog. Maybe that was for a week or 5 years. I don't know. But I had a dog. I'm just talking about the event. Okay. But if we want to talk about like who I am as part of that event, so I have had a dog. I have had a dog. So I have had a dog. Same thing. So either we're talking about the event, I had a dog, or we're talking about me. I have that. I have, and it's still, because it's right now, I have it. I still have the experience. But the experience was in the past. So I had the dog. Okay? I have had the dog. All right. Let's see. So you would say I had played baseball. I had played. So that's a different thing where we're not talking about the current thing. We're talking about something in the past. I don't want to get too complicated with this lesson here, but you can see how as you make it simple and we try to find what step makes it a little bit confusing or where we still have a doubt about something, that's the part you should focus on or ask questions about. All right, so I have watched, you would say I have watched an English lesson. Let's see. So Emmanuel says, I have been listening to you for almost an hour. In turn, I have been taking away a lot. Excellent, very good. Good uses. So I have, and you started it and you're still doing it. So here, like if we're just talking about something in the past, it's not actually connected. We stopped doing that thing in the past. I played baseball. I went to the park. I'm not at the park anymore. I went to the park. But if we're connecting these things, so there are kind of two ways to connect it. The first is like, is the event still happening? The other is, it's still me, okay? So that's why we use like, I have played, because this event, it happened already, it's finished, but I'm still here. I'm like a time machine, like I began there and it's still happening now, and we can travel back in time through me. Like I have that experience. Okay, but with this video right here, if you have been watching, so you started an hour ago and now you still are doing it, so you have been doing that thing. So that's why it's I have been doing it. It's continuing. You're still doing it right now. All right. XD again. For you guys who don't know Taylor Swift, she is becoming a billionaire by singing songs about her inability to pay good men. Ben Shapiro, she's a 30-year-old lady. Ben is right. Ben Shapiro. Let's see. Bridget says languages, everyday experiences. Is your daughter fluency speaker? Yes. So my daughters, both of them, I have two daughters, a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. Both of them can speak English and Japanese. Their Japanese is better. They just know more Japanese and they spend more time speaking Japanese. But yeah, they're learning both languages. Next time when your daughter breaks up with her incumbent boyfriend, she will compose some negative comments. When she, yeah. Yes, Taylor Swift. Ms. Drew, can you make a video with your daughter? Well, you can see, if you go to my channel, you can find videos of her. Teacher, I want to learn more about emotions next time. What do you mean emotions? Like what? Be specific. That's why it's important to learn the past participle verb. Yes, but my point is, I don't want you to think like, oh, that's a past participle or whatever. Because a native would not be able to tell you what past participle is. It's just, basically a native would know like simple past, present, and future. And probably present continuous. And like, I guess you could talk about, they would know like, I'm talking about the grammar names of those things, like past continuous or future continuous. But they're not thinking about that. They're not thinking grammar rule. They're thinking, when can I use this? And that's an important difference between natives and non-natives. So people who use the language without thinking about it. I haven't been being honest with you these days, but you would say, the truth is that I have found another teacher. Oh no, Emmanuel, don't leave me. Zakin, is it possible to learn English with series like Friends? Sure. You could learn like that, but basically, if you're just watching a TV show, often you would have to watch a lot of them, and you would have to have someone explain to you about grammar that you don't understand. You would need to get that information somehow. So remember, the point is, it's not watching Friends or watching any particular show. It's, do you understand? Do you still have doubt about the information? That's the important thing. So you need to find some way to eliminate the doubt. It doesn't really matter how you get that. If you like watching TV shows and you can understand it, that's great. But if you watch some episodes of Friends and you don't feel confident about speaking, then you're kind of wasting your time. So those are the questions you need to ask yourself. If you're eliminating the doubt, then that's going to help you. Mark says, I have been feeling that all the good English teachers are living abroad and learning another language. What would be the reason? I don't know if that's correct or not, but I would guess, I can speak for myself as a learner of other languages and like a fluent speaker of Japanese. I understand the struggle that people have with language learning, and so probably teachers who also learn or speak another language know that struggle as well. And so you know the difference. If I live in the United States, for example, it doesn't matter where you live, but if I live in the United States and I don't speak a language other than English, and I just am doing I'm trying to be a language teacher at a school, and I'm teaching you the traditional way, like teaching you English as a second language, and I don't know what it's like to struggle with those lessons, then I'm probably not going to do anything different. So you have many people that think they need to learn the traditional way, and people who think they need to teach the traditional way, but nobody's really getting fluent. So that's kind of the tricky thing. It's a good observation though, but I would guess that's the reason. That's the reason for me. So I'm able to help people because I know what it's like to struggle to speak. And for me, if I don't understand something, if I have doubt about that thing, I won't speak. And so that's really the thing for everybody else as well. So it's not, the problem is not logically understanding grammar rules. It's just like, well, I still have doubt about it. I still am worried about, am I using this the right way? Is this is there something I still don't understand? Or maybe it could be the pronunciation. There could be different reasons why I feel doubt, but that's the whole point. Tora says, hello from Indonesia. Which one you prefer, Samsung or iPhone? I don't know. I'm using an iPhone right now, but I have an older one. You guys make me feel old over here. I have an iPhone 8 Plus, which is it's starting to feel a little bit old. I could probably update that though. But typically I don't care so much. As long as it gets me what I need, I don't really need to just upgrade for the sake of upgrading. Kenan says, you had made a video with your daughter before 6 years. We need a new video. I see. How are you doing from Zimbabwe? Doing well. Raymond says, just hop on the program, guys. Yes, if you'd like to learn more. I've given you a few examples of fluency triggers here, but if you'd like thousands of them, all the work is done for you to learn and understand like a native. You can click on the link in the description of this video to learn more about Fluent for Life. Frederick is the other program that will also give you lots of fluency triggers. Really, the point is to discover how to spell and to listen and to read and to learn the pronunciation the same way natives do. But you will discover how to do that rather than me teaching you a bunch of rules. So you will still learn all the rules, but it will be fun. It won't feel like boring lessons. I got to go for you, but thanks for help. Got it. Val says, what about the vocabulary? What about the vocabulary? What's your question? Justin says, I'm struggling to be a better English speaker too. Thanks so much. Well, it's my pleasure. Glad to welcome you here. Remember, it's really very simple. You need to eliminate the doubt, any questions or concerns or worries that you have about using vocabulary, grammar, or maybe you worry about your accent, whatever that is. Until you eliminate the doubt, you are likely, most likely, going to struggle. So the solution is not to just study more or even to force yourself to speak. It's really just to eliminate the doubt. So however you can do that, either you can do it by yourself. Most of my videos are trying to give you examples of how you would do that, or you just have someone like me do it for you. And that's my like job, is to help you understand that. But whether you learn with me or not, the doubt is the thing you need to remove. Raquel says, I fear to learn a third language. Will I forget my English? Probably not. You should be okay. Taylor Swift is smart. Good point to become a millionaire. Yes, I think she has more money than 1 million, I think, but she's doing all right. I guess whoever was mentioning about, was that XD mentioning about that? Yes, like the kind of common idea that you have to think about like what your role model is. And so maybe some people, even though she has a lot of money, maybe because she doesn't have like, I don't know, she's not married or doesn't have kids or whatever. Let's see. Amesh says, what is the best way to learn any word pronunciation? Well, that you should get Frederick for that, because you don't, and you can click on the link in the description below this video for that. But the point of learning English and specifically learning pronunciation like a native is that you're not trying to study rules, but you should see how the words work together based on their letter combinations. And when you understand that, then you start feeling more confident about that, and then you add to that getting more examples from hearing other native speakers using those same words. So right now you're only listening to me speaking. You should be listening to many different natives like we do in Fluent for Life. So you really need to get many different examples, which will improve your listening. So not just listening to a slow or easy to understand teacher. You should be getting native examples as well. That's why we put those in the program. Let's see. I understand everything, but I can't speak English fluently, says Bird. Again, the reason most likely is you still have doubts about grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, anything else. Remove the doubt, destroy the doubt, and you will replace that with confidence. Emmanuel said, that's right, too. That's why I have been sticking around to learn more and more with you. That's why I have been. You mean you haven't been, I guess that you would say, if you're not learning with me. But thanks so much. Yes, it's my pleasure. Learn with me or not. It's up to you. Zakeen says, is it true about you say about learn is more about understanding than try to speak without have a lot of vocabulary? Yes. And you know this is true for yourself, because if you don't feel confident about something, you're not speaking. The whole reason people watch these videos is because they know English, but they don't feel confident speaking. It means they have doubts or questions about something, and each time they answer that, they become more fluent. Okay, so it's a process you feel each time when you learn something. You get another example that makes you understand some vocabulary or grammar. That's why I'm taking time to go through this. So you begin by understanding this. Like, yeah, I understand this, but why don't I understand this? Or wherever you have an issue. But if you study or kind of learn things one step at a time like this whole thing becomes a fluency trigger, a trigger which eliminates the doubt. So it triggers your confidence. It triggers your ability to speak. Okay? So when I talk about people not needing to know lots of words, yes, the point is you get fluent in one word or phrase at a time as you understand that thing. So you can know a lot of vocabulary, but you might only be fluent in a few things if you really feel confident about those things, and those are the things you want to say. But if you don't feel confident, it means you're not fluent in that vocabulary yet. So you need to eliminate more doubt. You need to find some way to destroy that doubt to become a more confident speaker. Let's see. Lester says, hi, coach. You wrote couch. I'm guessing that's a typo, but that's okay. What is the difference between I have played baseball and I have been playing baseball? Greetings from Guatemala. So remember, I have played. So I have played. We're just talking about something that happened in the past, but it's still a part of me. But I have been playing means I'm still doing it. I continue to play baseball. So I have doing the thing, or I have did the thing, okay? So did you do it, or are you continuing to do it? That's it. That's the only difference. All right, XDL, I kind of feel like I am built different. It's okay, you know, each one of us, just like Samsung and iPhone, they're built different, you know. Sergio says, grammar is awful. Well, it's not really true, it's how people learn grammar. So hopefully I've given you an example here of how grammar is not awful, it's just easy once you understand it one step at a time. All right, yes, it's a process, 100% correct. Mark again says my English level is C1, so it's pretty advanced. In one-to-one conversation, I'm good, but in presentations in front of a group of people, it's a nightmare. You can explain more about why that is, but it could be just confidence, where you're worried about maybe saying the wrong thing in front of more people. That's typically the issue that most people have. And it could be like stage fright in general. There are different reasons why you might have that issue. I've talked about that in other videos. Also, I have a whole lesson set about presentations in Fluent for Life. Sergio says my English level is A2. Well, all right, that's okay. You can write that though. Jacinda says I am been. So you would say I have been. I have been in the USA. For 26. Do you mean 26 years? And I still feel I'm continuing to learn English. Yeah. So I have. So you can say, remember, I'm trying to teach you one structure at a time. So I have been in the U.S. So again, you came to the U.S. and you are still in the U.S. So I have been. I have been in the U.S. for however many years. Or I have been living in the U.S. for however many years. Both of those are fine, all right? I think everybody's getting it though, all right? So the more triggers you can give yourself, the faster you get those, the faster you get fluent, all right? It's just like boom, 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 destroy the doubt, and you will replace that feeling with confidence instead, all right? If you'd like to learn more about that, you can click on the links in the description. So anybody who's not in the program should join. I'd love to know why people are not. I could understand maybe people have a money issue about it, I understand. But you hopefully, the way of learning should make sense, where you're trying to basically understand like a native as quickly as possible by triggering the removal of doubt. That's how you get fluent. All right, last questions. Who you want to be, Jack, Dr. Lee? John Scientist, me, the world leader. Oh, no, don't do that. Well, it's seated there right at the end. Hi, Drew. I'm late, but I'll watch it later. Thanks for the precious. That was my pleasure. Can you teach about the infinitive? This is not the time for that. I didn't want to do a whole lesson about different things. I have talked about that in other videos. Remember, don't think about the infinitive. Think about when you would use something. All right. I will leave it there. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.